Welcome, everyone, and we welcome everyone back to Inside ECAC Hockey. Bernie Corbett, pleased to be back for another season with ECAC Hockey, and pleased to be back, have an opportunity to visit with coaches and players around the ECAC. First up for us this week, with teams returning to action last weekend, we're very happy to have with us the head coach of the St. Lawrence Skating Saints in his fifth season. I believe it is. Could it be possible? Time flying, I'm sure, up there in the North Country for Brent Brekke. Brent, welcome as we bring you in. And does it seem like it's been 5 years, or does it seem longer since you came in around the COVID time?
You know what? It's funny you say that, Bernie, but thanks first and foremost for having me on. It doesn't seem like 5 years, but you look back and it seems like our COVID, that was the start, right? Our first year, we spent some time down the road at SUNY Canton as far as using that rink when we were going through our renovations, and then everything shut down the playoffs, and the next year was the true COVID year. But all of that seems like it's so far back in the rearview mirror. But with that being said, it doesn't seem like it's been 5 years that we're heading into right now. So, but it's been fun. It's been enjoyable. It's a great place to be, and we're excited about our group as well.
Well, excitement factor, this being your fifth season, and the fact that I've been talking to coaches for decades, and when they get hired, it's always, what is your plan? You got a 3-year plan, you got a 5-year plan. That's usually dependent on what the contract is, I guess, right?
But there's no doubt that can change things.
that could be. You could maybe call a couple of audibles at the line of scrimmage or from the bench, as it were, in hockey. But as you look at it and the progress of this program, the win totals from 4 to 6 with an asterisk with the 6, because there was a 6 and 8 season with the COVID shortened season, to 11 to 17. I mean, it's been a pretty steady climb uphill there as far as the progress of this program. How do you see it now, year 5?
No, I like it. Obviously, we took a real good step last year. We finished the season kind of on a disappointing note when we earned the home ice to play at home, but lost that series with Colgate. And credit to them, Donnie Vaughn did a phenomenal job getting them clicking at the right time, and eventually he won the playoff, for last year. So probably the wrong team to draw. We had some great battles all year long, but the season as a whole was good. But when you have a disappointing last series to finish it off, that kind of sticks with you through the summer. But I think with that was a real motivational side for our entire program, not just our staff but our players. I mean, there was a lot of stuff that went into some soul searching this summer to make sure that doesn't happen again, but to earn that right to be back in the same position, but then make the most of it and get ourselves a Lake Placid this year. That's the goal.
You mentioned the fourth place finish at 12 and 10 in a very competitive ECAC last year, and then that disappointment. Oftentimes coaches, it becomes something that's tangible. You can almost feel it around the returnees of the team. Is that something that you could really kind of get a feel for, that there was a strong motivation for your returning core of this team, the veteran group of this team, coming back to erase that, make amends, and be able to move forward?
Yeah, their mindset is noticeable, and it was from day one. And when I say day one, that's the start of the school year, but really it happened back in the spring. We do a lot of stuff in the summer and the off season to stay connected with our guys and kind of get our acclimation for our young guys coming in place as well. So we do a lot of stuff on Zoom in the summer, and it was noticeable, obviously leading up to the kickoff of the first day of classes. It's just a different mindset. There is a focus there. There's really a true not wanting to be denied, especially for the older guys that are in there last year. And we do have an older group, but we just, we had a meeting here this morning after practice, just with our captains, our advisory group, and just some of the things we went through in game one, just as far as how the third period kind of went back and forth, and how that was managed, on the bench between the periods in the locker room and different things like that, of not getting too high with the highs or too lows with the lows. And the experience is really what plays into that. They've been through it before, and they understand, hey, these are some of the things that we did well when we were faced with this type of adversity within a game last couple of years, or maybe it was, things that weren't going well or going great, either way, but keeping things in perspective and not letting things get away from you in a game, because that can happen real quick. And, our IT was a real good matchup for us. I like their team a lot. I think they're excellent in transition. So it was a good test right from the start, which we knew it was going to be, because they're always a little bit older and they play a high, fast tempo game and up speed with transition. So that was a good test for us to get prepared for the kickoff, the start of the season.
And the start of the season is successful, as you mentioned, start with the 4-3 victory over RIT, and got some great contributions there in terms of offensively. Bergen with a couple of goals, Missouri with a 3-point night, and also contribution. I'm not going to attempt the pronunciation, but you do have a young Latvian man there on the team that got a big goal for you.
Yeah, it's Felix Gavers. Yes,
Gavers. Okay,
he's a shooting machine. The thing we talked to him about, and he's fun. He's a high energy kid. No bad days with that kid being around the rink, but he can shoot the puck a ton and he can really skate. And we just said, hey, you should be attempting, 8 shots a night. You get 8 shots on net, you're going to score a lot of goals because he's got the ability to get the puck off quick. He's got a lot on it. I think it gets on top of goaltenders quickly and surprises them where, if he's not scoring himself, he's probably creating a second and third opportunity just because it's just one of those shots that it's quick, it's hard, it's heavy, and it's tough to handle. So it was great to see him score early, and obviously he was pretty excited about it. And then Ben Krause played well in net, and that was the other thing coming into the year with not much experience. When we lost Emil Zetterquist, who had been our mainstay for the last 2+ years, and he was great for us. And when that that torch has got to be passed to somebody else, there's a little uncertainty, but we've got some great competition in net with Grant Adams and Ben Krause and then Mason Kaczynski. So Ben got the call the first night, and did a tremendous job, made some huge saves when we needed to at the timely points of the game. So it was good to kind of get some answers in net as well.
You mentioned about Ben experience at Arizona State and Miami before coming up there to the North Country. And you look for that progress, Coach, guys that do return. Bergen, well, he got half his goal total from a year ago. He had 4, and Missouri had 3. He's already on the score sheet. Gavaris had 3 a year ago, and I'm sure you're looking to see those totals be able to creep up for you and increase the production and the overall balance for your team offensively.
Yeah, the one thing I thought we did a real good job last year, the challenge we put forth with our team was we needed more scoring on our back end from our defensemen. And I thought they answered the bell last year. If you look at the numbers from previous years to last year, they did a phenomenal job. And now when the season ends, you're going, geez, our offense from our forwards needs to elevate. And so that's kind of been the challenge. Obviously, continue to take a step with our defensemen and maintain where we're at, but another small step offensively from the blue line, but then do that same thing up front. And our guys, I think the experience that they've gotten in the last couple of years now as an older group is starting to show through. We're making a lot more plays. There's a lot more offensive confidence, just more threatful. And another young man that didn't have a huge showing on the score sheet, but was dynamic from start to finish for us was Tyler Crystal. And TC's been a guy that as a young man, as a first year, we knew he was going to be very dynamic, but he's taken a really, really good step here from year 1 to year 2, and he should have a real big season for us.
D. Crystal we had 13 points a year ago, and a guy that I know that you're expecting to step up. And once again, it's been Lastek also, who had a pretty good offensive start for you last year with 15 points. So that freshman to sophomore class is going to be one to watch.
Yeah, for sure. And but the sophomore year is always the challenging one. It's funny. I think every coach probably thinks the same way. You always hear the term the sophomore jinx. Yeah, that's but right. The reality is it's expectations is what it all comes down to. When you come in as a first year player, you probably have your own expectations, but you're stepping into college hockey for the first time, and it's a different animal. You're playing against men, a lot older guys that bigger, stronger. And as a coach, you probably have some expectations, what you think they may do, but until they get there, you don't really truly know. But once they've gone through a full year, now there's true expectations. You know what they're capable of, and you know what the standards should be for them. But then they also feel the same way. They know what college hockey is. And so, but what happens a lot of time is those first year players think they've got it figured out. They get the end of year 1. Hey, I've been through a year. I get it. But the reality is that expectation gets raised probably from a coaching standpoint. And from a player standpoint, they think they've got it, figured out, and they've been through it. And all of a sudden, the expectation is raised a little bit when they go into year 2, and it's harder. You're not sneaking up on anybody. Everybody knows who you are as a player. There's pre-scouts and things like that. And all of a sudden, it's not as easy as you thought it was going to be. And the expectation continues to be raised, probably from a coaching standpoint. And that's the challenge, is to try to live up to that as a player. And that's where a lot of times I think that pressure in that year two for certain individuals can be a real tough thing. But, I think our young guys that are coming from year one to year two have really, they look tremendous to start the year. And now we get into games that'll really kind of play itself out and show that they're ready for that.
And you alluded to the defense and the offensive contribution of the defense, and that is factored into you having 85% of your goals returning from a year ago, and that's only matched by Alaska and Anchorage. So you're number one in that area. And I think even more importantly is just the overall core group of your defensemen, led by Luke Salem. Give us a little bit of insight about him. He's a captain, all ECAC, and led the team across the board from the blue line. Had an outstanding year, just really impactful all around, plus 11, had 4 game winners for you as a defenseman. And oh, by the way, not afraid of doing the dirty work there, as he blocked 45 shots to lead an experienced defense core that you just can't discount.
No doubt. He had a tremendous year, and you'll appreciate the movie Cool Hand Luke. That would be him. Like
one of my favorites.
His pulse might get to about 110 during a game. He's about as even keel as they get. But that's what makes him special. There's no panic in his game. He doesn't, like we talked about the start of this, and it's not too high with the highs, and he doesn't get too down on himself. And he's got a demeanor that is infectious for our guys on the bench and in the locker room when things kind of get anxious and maybe transition goes the other way, and all of a sudden you feel like things are slipping away a little bit. He's just that guy that he's very quiet. And so when he does speak, he has the ear of everybody. And I mean everybody. They're like, hey, when he's talking, it's thoughtful, it's very meaningful. And, there's going to be a lot of merit to what's coming out of his mouth. And so he's got that presence to him and he's almost bashful to a certain degree. And, but he's got an inner confidence that really kind of shows through with his play that, when the game's on the line and plays need to be made, he's going to do it. And he's a special player, obviously, but he's a special kid. I mean, that's just the way he's wired. He's just an awesome person that, you just want to be around every single day.
And Waite and Nakins they were also pretty good contributors, all 3 zones, with what they did to impact the game offensively 4 years ago.
Yeah, 2 big kids. They're best friends, both kids from Winnipeg. Drake Bergen's in that mix. The 3 of those kids are all from the Peg, as they call it. And but Mason's, he and Ty Nakins are big bodies. They're big, heavy players. A lot of poise in their game, and they're tough to play against. Both with and without the puck, and they play the game the right way. And they had good years. And again, the same thing. Their own expectations, I think, match what it is. Within our coaching staff, there's some really high expectations. Those are guys with a high ceiling and a bright future in hockey after college as well. And so we're pretty excited for them as well this year.
And I got to make note of the fact that of your freshman class of 7 to replace the 8 members of the class of 2023, I noticed the name Jake Lamons, the son of St. Lawrence icon, legend, Hank Lamons, that I remember very well, All-American in class of 87.
Yeah, his father was an absolute ball player here. He was a big-time player, and he's, he was a Olympic sailor as well for Team Canada. Like, he's talk about an athlete. His dad is still an athlete.
Yep.
He's a big man. But yeah, Jake's. It's great to have a legacy when you come in, and at times it's not fair. When you have a parent that's been that successful as a former athlete in the same sport. But Jake's a talented young man. He's actually coming off of surgery, so we're still trying to get him healthy from some off-season surgery. But he's an exciting young defenseman that he's got good skating ability, good hockey sense, good compete, and so we're looking forward to getting him healthy and in the lineup.
And good to see that you handled adversity on night 1, Coach, with RIT battling back and making that a one-shot game a couple of times. You handle it from that standpoint. And special teams, always a work in progress in October, let alone later in the year, but especially early in the year. And you won that battle. You were perfect on the PK and had a timely power play goal.
Yeah, and that's the credit to our assistant coaches. So Tommy Hill is in charge of our penalty kill, and he's done a phenomenal job with that group every single year. And Mike Akins came on board with us last year and oversees our power play. And he's done a really good job of just changing things into some different looks and different units and things like that. But the confidence is high. I think our guys they're making better reads and executing at a higher level. So they made a difference in that game. And that was one of the things we talked about, going into the game is, we want to be great on face-offs. You get a face-off goal, it gives an opportunity to make a difference. We had kind of a broken play from a face-off that ended up in that, but then the special teams at the end of the day are going to win a lot of hockey games for you. Whether you're keeping the puck out of your net or putting it in the opponent's net, and our guys answered the bell with that. So it was great to see.
And you mentioned about Mike Akins was added to the staff last year, and new assistant coach with the NCAA allowing for another coach to be hired. And like many schools, you went in the direction of goaltending with Cam Dume, who had great experience with stop at goaltending here in Boston area or Irish side, and also at Bentley.
Yeah, Cam's a great young man, and that was the one thing we, in having that position, because our previous goalie coach was a volunteer. Mike McKenna is a former goalie here at St. Lawrence, but he was doing it remote, and so he wasn't hands-on with our guys. The previous couple of years as a volunteer was all through Zooms and stuff, which he did a phenomenal job with our guys from afar. But to get that position in-house, to have somebody, on the ice with us with the the new allocation from the NCAA to get Cam was great. And Cam's got he's got a real deep history with Brian DeCourt, and Brian's phenomenal. He's a well-known goalie guru, and so being under Brian's watch for the last 7 years, we felt very confident that Cam's the right guy to come in, and he's been tremendous. It's different because he was working solely with goalies, but now you start adding the recruiting aspect in there and the system stuff and things like that. But Cam's been tremendous. He's a great young coach. He's high energy. He's diligent and working. So obviously we're pretty excited adding him to our staff.
And with 5 of your first 6 at home, I love the fact that it's not the mosh pit, it's the Marsh pit. Of course it is, with in honor of one of my good friends, Joe Marsh, but a chance to get out of the gate strong. And want to mention it was a whiteout night. Read a little bit about what Elaine White, 60-year employee at St. Lawrence. I'm sure she was thrilled to be honored by the crowd and your Skating Saints hockey team and to get off with a big W.
Yeah, it was great to recognize Elaine. 60 years at an institution is incredible. And I mean incredible. That's probably an understatement still. But it was great to see the recognition for her. And the place was sold out, and they all had the T-shirts on honoring her, which was great. But going back to like Joe Marsh, I mean, Joe's awesome. And Bernie, him well over the years. But so when we first asked Coach Marsh, hey, do you mind if we, rename the student section after you? And we told him, because with his strong Eastern accent, we said, well, when you say Joe Marsh, it comes across as mosh. He said, so it's like a mosh pit. He goes, well, what the hell's a mosh pit? And so we're like, Coach, you got to look it up. But it's a high energy place of lots of people getting into energy and excited into things. And so he was like, sure, if you think it's something, we'll run with it. So, but yeah, he had no clue what a mosh pit was. So, but it's great to have him honored and recognized, obviously in Appleton with the student section, because he did so much for the program for close to 3 decades. And he comes back. He lives here in the winter. He's one of the few retirees that doesn't go south. He loves the cold weather, so he's in Maine in the summer, and then he comes here in the winter, and he's here around a lot, and he's awesome. He's a special person.
Yeah, great to have his presence. It's infectious. His energy level. God bless him, Joe Marsh. And next up, you got the couple of non-conference opponents: Vermont from Hockey East and Penn State from the Big Ten. Just give us a little bit of a glimpse into the weekend, the week ahead here for your Skating Saints.
Yeah, it's a great matchup coming up. I mean, like I said, I like the challenge that we had facing RIT because they were a threatful offensive team, and I think we're going to see similar with both the 2 other teams coming in with Vermont on Friday and Penn State on Saturday. Both, I think, similar. Like they're going to play north. They play quick. They're good skating teams. They're going to make a lot of plays. Obviously, Steve Wheeler taking over at Vermont. He's got a real offensive offensive mindset and kind of his background. So I would expect those guys to be really kind of looking to go north a lot and make a lot of plays with the puck. And then Penn State is a team that obviously can really skate, and they shoot the puck from everywhere. And if you're not good around your net, you may give them the outside shot, but they come to the net hard, and they're looking for second, third, and fourth opportunities off a lot of line rushes or forced pucks in zone. So we're going to have to be on our toes with good awareness and get our feet moving against both those teams this weekend.
Coach, thank you very much. As always, it's great to talk hockey with you here on the program. And my only words of advice is just tell your captain, Luke, that nothing can be a real cool hand.
There you go. I will pass it along, Bernie. How about you, Bernie? Any special concerts this past summer? I know you're an avid concert guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it was a year ago. It was the Stones at Hyde Park and Wimbledon, and this year it was Bruce Springsteen at Hyde Park and Wimbledon.
Wow.
So that was certainly a highlight, and also got to see a couple of Pearl Jam shows just a couple of weeks ago in Chicago.
Oh,
So
good for you. That's a great summer. Good for you.
absolutely, got to keep rocking in the free world, Brent.
There you go. Exactly.
Okay. Excellent. Great to have you with us. All the best this weekend, and skating beyond with the Skating Saints this season. Hope to be talking hockey again.
Awesome. Thanks, Brent. I appreciate the time. Have a great one.
Brent Brekke, head coach of the St. Lawrence Skating Saints, our guest here this week on Inside ECAC Hockey.